this, huh? Oh! Just fuck you. We don't live yet. I like to share too, thank you. You got a fucking problem with me? You must be so ugly. I take that paper. It's your funeral.